Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4. Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the dojo. Controlling your emotions for greatness. That's the topic of today's show. This is Todd Toback, and welcome to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast. If this is the first time you are joining us and you have not been to our website, head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com and download a copy of the wholesaling map. That's the massive action plan. And whether you are trying to do your first deal, right, scratching and clawing your way there, and you are hungry for that first paycheck, or you're trying to scale your business to 6 or 7 figures and build a team who will operate this business without you, okay, this is the blueprint that you got to use. I took the blueprint that I used myself and I put it in an easy to read step-by-step document. So go there and download it right now, or as soon as you are done with the show and safely able to do so. Again, that's nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com. So let's talk about controlling your emotions. Does it seem like you're on an emotional roller coaster, right? One day you are up and on top of the world and it feels like you're doing deal after deal after deal and you're cashing big paychecks. And the next day you're down, right? It feels like deals are sporadic, money is tight, your cash flow, stinks, and that you have no money in your bank account. Well, I can tell you that this is part of entrepreneurship, right? Welcome to entrepreneurship. If you are brand new and you haven't dealt with this, right? Well, this is what you're going to deal with. And if you are experienced, or if you have any level of experience in real estate investing, you've dealt with the emotional roller coaster. And I can tell you that one of the keys of both athletic and business greats is that the greats have the ability to control their emotions, right? They are almost stoic. They don't get too high and they don't get low. Why? Because they use their emotions to do the right things day after day after day after day so that their actions compound regardless of how they feel that day, right? They don't get too high so that they don't take their foot off the gas, and they don't get too low so that they don't feel sorry for themselves, right? And basically quit themselves out of the business. So let me tell you a recent story that I just had in our company. I had one of our acquisition specialists call me up, and he said he was down and nervous about a bunch of deals that we had in the pipeline. He was like, Todd, I just feel like everything's up in the air and I'm just nervous, and I just feel like, deals are falling apart and I don't know what to do, right? And so we recently had one deal fall apart because the seller, would not perform. There was a title issue and he would not go to an attorney to get that fixed, right? And so this one deal, this one setback just set him on this tailspin, right? And he was just like, everything is falling apart. All of our deals are up in the air. And I just, I don't know what to do. And just completely, I felt like overreacting for the situation. So going through this myself, right? I've been through periods where I have overreacted and I've gotten, down over things that shouldn't have got me down, or I've gotten too high on things that weren't going to put me, into billionaire status, right? I've learned from this. So I sat him down and I said, okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we sit down, right? And why don't we have some calm reflections of the facts and give us a clear picture of what's going on. So we pulled up our entire disposition pipeline. And if you're brand new, a disposition pipeline is just a list of the properties that we have under contract to purchase, right? The properties that we have talked to homeowners, they have signed a contract, and we are either going to keep these or we are either going to sell them. And I said, we're going to go through every deal step by step, and we're going to go through what we can control. So it turns out that every deal that we had under contract was under control, but we were waiting for some seller deadlines, which we previously agreed to. So I said, hey, thank you for the urgency, Paul, right? But what I want you to do right now is that after reviewing this pipeline, it seems like everything is under control. Now, there are a few things that we can move around here, and I'm going to talk to you about that. But what I'd like you to do is I want to give you permission to release everything that's outside of your control, right? Right now, you're looking at 8 or 9 deals, and this, and this you state are completely outside of your control, right? We've tried to push them forward, right? Take that next step, right? You want to, again, create that sense of urgency, but all the stuff that you're looking at is outside of your control. And all that stuff, I want you to mentally release it because it's not doing you any good, right? It's dragging you down and taking down your mental state, okay? Take it out of your mind. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to focus, laser focus on the things that you can control. And so out of the 7 or 8 deals that we had that we're kind of waiting for to close, right? I said, you know what? We can renegotiate 1 or 2 of these, right? You can renegotiate 1 or 2 of these and move the needle so that we can push the closings forward, right? These aren't deal breakers, right? But you can do that, but this is within your control. And so I coached him on that because I wanted him to do something, because I wanted him to release the stuff that he couldn't do. But then I wanted him to take action on the stuff that he could. And so he wrote that down, right? And immediately, once he got on a piece of paper and said, I can't control this, I can control this, so let me focus on these 2, right? It was like a big, right? A big, huge relief. So why am I bringing this up, right? Well, so many times in business, we make impulsive decisions based on how we feel, right? That's very, very, very important. I think Yoda said this, right? But he said, you want to see things based on how they are, not on how we feel. Okay, you want to remove feeling from your vocabulary when you are talking to yourself. Now, I'm not talking about dealing with other people's feelings, right? In terms of emotions or in relationships. I'm talking about the internal feeling that we have, right? That internal voice that speaks to us, that tells us that business is better than it is or worse than it is, or the sky is falling, or that this roadblock is the end, or that emotion that says life stinks and business stinks. And your ability, okay, to control this inner voice, right? This thing that talks to you is going to determine your ability to build an empire in the long term. We have a core value in our company, and it's called data, not drama. Trust your gut, but always verify with the numbers. I'm going to repeat that. Okay. Again, this is one of the core values inside of our company. Data, not drama. Trust your gut, but always verify with the numbers, right? Numbers could be replaced with facts. But again, a lot of times in your business, you're going to have clouded judgment, right? Because you're dealing with a lot, especially as you first start out, right? You don't have a lot of team members, if you're just a solopreneur. And so you're getting, all this stuff put out and you're processing a lot of information. And so your ability to tell what's important or what's not, or what should be actionable and what's not, you're going to have some quiet reflection. So one of the skills that I recommend is that if you're feeling too high or too low, is to shut off your phone, shut off your computer, right? And make a list of the facts of what's actually going on, right? If you are having a bad day, or you feel like quitting, or you have some frustration in your business, just start writing, right? Here is what's going on. Here's what happened. Here's what I can do about it. And here's how I prevent this from having it again. And doing this is going to help you from having this emotional response to now I am in control, right? I can control the outcome. I can move the needle. I can make the income go up. I can add more free time to my business, right? I can attract team members to my business. And this is what I have to do, versus the woe is me mentality. Now, the interesting thing is that you can actually do the opposite, right? Is that you can get too high in business, right? So whenever you feel like you get too high in business, right? That's a great feeling where, you're like, I'm on top of the world. I'm making a ton of money. This business is going to explode. I'm going to dominate my market, right? I'm going to buy that beach house soon, or whatever that is, right? The problem is that when most people get too high, they also stop looking at the facts. They also stop looking at the numbers, and they start to take the foot off the gas, right? They stop doing the things that got them to where they are, right? They lose track of the market. They lose track of their marketing campaigns. They're not following up exactly like they should. So my point of this episode is controlling your emotions, right? You don't want to get too high. You don't want to get too low. The reason why this is that you've got to do the actions day after day after day after day that is going to lead to greatness. The actions that are going to compound day after day after day that's going to build your real estate empire. So the next time you're feeling down, look at what reality is, right? Are things as bad as they seem? Or are things as good as they seem, right? If you're feeling way too good or you're feeling way too low, right? Remember, number one, not to take your foot off the gas. And if you're feeling horrible, remember not to give up, right? Look at the facts, look at the numbers, right? And make your next steps after that. At the end of the day, analyzing the truth is going to direct you towards the action that you need to take day after day after day, all right? You've got to remain stoic. And when you do that, you remain centered. You are going to be the one that's going to build the empire day after day, month after month, year after year. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. Remember, control your emotions. And if you have not been to our site, No Limits Real Estate Investing.com, download the wholesaling map, and that's going to give you the blueprint that you need to go from your first deal to start to build your team to 6 or 7 figures. Also, I do see the reviews on iTunes, but if you've been enjoying the show and you haven't, please leave a review. And if you have not shared the content and you feel like it's worthwhile, hopefully you do, copy and paste the link and send it to 3 or more of your favorite real estate friends. Talk to you soon.